join a church. Find a church where it fits your beliefs at all, and join a church, because there you find good families. It's a good church family, and I'm a big believer. Whether or not you're terribly religious or not, churches can be really wonderful in our lives. So I would just suggest that. You want to work at not becoming habitual complainers. Okay? Even though you feel lousy and all that, it just, after a while, the world just doesn't want to hear it very much. Okay? Have you all found that out? Sometimes it just helps to just kind of, when you complain a lot. Now, I don't mean never. Okay? We all need, to talk about where we are sometimes, how we're feeling. But people get tired of it. That's our reality. I'm just telling you what a reality is. It drags you down, it annoys others. Okay, it's normal to feel sorry for ourselves at times, but we need to avoid the whiner rut. Okay, Maya Angelou. Anybody know Maya Angelou? Wonderful author and playwright. Just a beautiful. She's so talented. And she was talking about. I guess she's probably in her early 80s now, and she was talking about what she's learned in life. And one of the things that she said is, "I've learned that even when I have pain, it's not good to be one." Right? Yeah, I like that. I remind myself of that regularly. Come on, Clyde Smith, let's not feel pain. Any questions, comments so far? Okay, so people who are resilient are resourceful. Okay, they'll try as much as they can to do things on their own, but when they need help, they'll ask for it, and they'll know that it's okay. It's okay to ask for help. My feeling is we're all interdependent. As human beings, we're all interdependent. Some people will say, I want to be independent. And the truth of the matter is none of us can be truly independent of others. I mean, even just to go down to the grocery store and have people working in the grocery store putting out the produce, we need them, don't we? Okay? We need people. We need the police officers out on the streets helping us be safer. We need other human beings, and it's okay to ask for help. The important thing is, though, to express warmth and appreciation when we get it. Okay? Sometimes what will happen is we're just so bogged down with what's going on with us that we forget to be gracious. We need to warmly, thank people. We need to put effort into personal growth, the enhancing of self and learning. Okay? Some people just kind of do that naturally. They're always looking, they're seekers. And others of us have to kind of remind ourselves it's important. Read, take classes, workshops, whatever. Whatever you can do. Be learning. Be growing. Developing good communication, people skills, putting effort into physical health. This thing of growth and learning, I'll tell you another one of my stories. I had she was actually a patient of mine first, and then she went to graduate school, beyond legal blindness, and she started working on her master's degree. And then she did an internship with me, and then went to worked for me for 7 years until she went on to establish her own counseling practice. She's a therapist now. But Becky has a condition called retinitis pigmentosa. And what that means is it's the opposite of macular degeneration. If any of you all know people with macular degeneration, you lose central vision. With RP, vision closes in like this. And then it becomes just kind of tunnel vision, and you just have these little peepholes. And with some people, it eventually closes off entirely, and they're totally blind. So Becky, despite her blindness, and she is beyond legal blindness, and despite this, she went ahead, got her bachelor's degree, and eventually went back, got her master's degree. She married this wonderful, wonderful man. She had children. She has now raised the children. She's led a very normal life, a very rich, full life. But at one point, while she was working with me, Becky and Steve developed an interest in tandem biking. Okay, Becky cannot do a bike. I mean, she doesn't have, with tiny little peepholes, you just don't dare get out on a bike. So they do tandem biking a lot, and they do races, and they do clubs and all that. They had bought themselves a new tandem bike because they were doing so much of this biking. Brand new bike. They were so proud of it. Top of the line. Cost them a lot of money. And so they went out for a ride the first time with this brand new bike. Lovely ride. They were coming home up into the driveway. And because the stiffness of where you put your feet, I don't know all the terminology, bikers would know, where the feet go in, they couldn't get their feet out in time. The thing was stiff. The bike went over. Becky reached out like this, went down on the driveway and broke the arm. Okay? Now she uses a guide dog. So what she did, guide dogs, you use the left hand or the left arm. So what she did is she had the orthopedist cast her so that she could still have the guide dog like this. So it was casted like this. Okay? So the next weekend, they go out again. Lovely ride. They're coming back into the driveway. The thing is stiff again. They go to get their feet out, can't get them out in time. They fall over the other way. Becky puts out her hand and breaks that arm. So here she is, legally blind, one arm casted like this, the other arm casted like that. She cannot comb her hair, she cannot brush her teeth, she can't do anything. The first thing she did was to go to her beautician and get a pixie cut, so she wouldn't have to worry about her hair. Okay? But here she was like this. It was going to be for, I think it was 6 weeks that she was going to be like this. Well, as you can imagine, she was kind of down about that. She was pretty depressed for, the first week or so. And then Steve, who's a very wise man, said to her, well, so you're going to be like that for 6 weeks. So what's your goal going to be? She said, what? My goal? What are you talking about, my goal? He said, well, if you're going to be like that for 6 weeks, you better have a goal that you can be working toward. I said, that's ridiculous. But then she started thinking about it. And here's what she came up with. She said, she thought to herself, I've always wanted to run a race and to win a ribbon. And so what she started doing, she started training to run a race. So there she'd go, legally blind, 2 arms in a cast, and she was training. And Steve would run. They developed a little leather leash kind of a thing. She would hold on to one end, he would hold on to the other, so he was guiding her as she ran. Okay? After about 5 weeks or so, she ran her race. She won her ribbon. Okay? But what happened is by having that goal, growing, in other words, personal growth, she got excited. I mean, it was still hard. I'm not saying it was easy. It was still hard living life like that. But she was no longer depressed. She was excited because she was working on something. Does that make sense? Do you see what I'm talking about? We need to have those personal goals. We need to be reaching towards something. I don't care what's going on with us. All right? Any of you all have, personal goals, things like that despite what you're living, you go through, you're working toward? Need to think about it? I saw a head nod over there. What's yours?
Get a new car.
All right. Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
That's my current effort.
That's fine. I hope you get a really shiny red one or something, huh? Yeah, you go for it. All right. Okay. All right, so, and the last one here, putting effort into physical health. It's interesting to me. I do a lot of talking. I used to, at the U, I taught stress management classes, and I also taught the class stress management for instructors. So I was teaching people how to teach stress management. And one of the things I emphasize a lot, because people so often forget this, is how important it is to just take good care of ourselves. So often I'll run into people who are just complaining about, being stressed or having a bad day or whatever. And then you keep talking with them. It turns out they were up until 2 in the morning watching a movie and got 3 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep. Well, of course you don't feel good. Or people who skip breakfast. 10 o'clock, you're hypoglycemic. Of course you don't feel good. You take care of yourself, okay? This is the stuff we've learned since first grade. Yes, please.
One of the things that I discovered with pulmonary fibrosis is that you're really susceptible to stress.
Okay.
And when we spent winter in Texas.
Uh-huh.
Well, the trip was a bit stressful for me, and as soon as I got there, I got sick.
Yeah, yeah.
And for the first day, I kind of stayed in bed and said, well, maybe I'll mend up. Well, that isn't going to happen. I got in to see a doctor the next day. I got a prescription for an antibiotic. The Texas doctor said, oh, you've got Texas crud. Happens to all the northerners when they come down here. But the thing is that I had multiple little things that went wrong, and I just took them on one at a time. And just about the time I thought I had them licked, I managed to pull out a filling when I was flossing my teeth.
Oh
So
my
I had to
gosh,
find
yeah.
a dentist.
Yeah,
So,
oh
you know,
gee.
I mean, the physical health thing goes on and on and on, but I have discovered in dealing with this illness that as long as you stay on top of it and don't let anything get a foothold, you can
Just,
stay
yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me that so often it's the stuff that has been drummed into our heads since first grade. Remember all that stuff? You know, proper nutrition, enough rest, exercise, whatever we can do, it's important. Little or no use of alcohol, and so on and so on. We know this stuff. How often, though, we don't live it, this thing, okay? Okay. Accepting responsibility for making life livable. Okay, us assuming responsibility for it. Blaming others, God, fate for one's misfortune is normal while mourning. Initially, it's normal. Okay? But it shouldn't become a way of life or an excuse for personal unhappiness. The people who live with, well, if only this were so, or if only this would happen, then I would be happy. Okay? It's just, it doesn't work that way. Okay? We need to assume the personal responsibility and make it okay. Yes, please.
I have genetic IPF and I received a gene from my father. And my mother used to say, oh, I'm so sorry, it's so terrible. I says, Mom, I got my good humor from him too.
There you go. There you go. And see, that's a beautiful observation. We're going to get to that in just a minute. It's really, really important. Absolutely. If you could just laugh, it makes all the difference in the world. So that's a wonderful thing to inherit from him. Beautiful. One of my favorite quotes regarding this concept is peace is not a matter of peace is not an absence of noise. It's the finding yourself amid the tumult. Okay? Peace is not a matter or a silence of the absence of noise. A lot of people will go through life thinking, well, if the world would just quiet down, if the world would be okay, then I'll be okay. It doesn't work that way. The world is kind of crazy, and we need to learn to be okay in the midst of it. Okay. We need to have a balance in life. Now, we hear that all the time. We need to have a balance in life. But sometimes people will say, yeah, but how do I know if I have a balance in life? How do I do that? And I think a real nice concept, an easy way to think about this is to use the transactional analysis. You all have heard of that. It's part of cognitive psychology. And a lot of it, cognitive psychology is it's kind of what we think, or the way we perceive things, the way we choose to think about things that makes it good or bad. Okay, not so much the event itself, but how we choose to think about it. Hamlet said, things are neither right nor wrong, but thinking makes it so. Okay, so a person might be thinking about a presentation. Okay, got to do a presentation. Next, what is this, Thursday? Is it Thursday? Next Thursday, okay? Now, some people, how will they think about that? Well, some people will be thinking, oh, no, I've got to do a presentation, oh, gee, and others might be thinking, oh, great, it's a chance to kind of talk to people about what I believe and blah, blah, blah. It's not the event itself, it's how you choose to think about it, okay? So anyway, transactional analysis is a part of that type of thinking, or that approach to human behavior. And I like this transactional analysis model because it is so simple and it just makes sense, okay? And it's a way of thinking about this thing of balance in our lives. So what they say is that we are comprised of three psyches: the parent, the adult, and the child. Okay? The parent part of us is the shoulds and the shouldn'ts and the judgmental part of us. So, for example, the parent part of me I might be thinking, oh my gosh, I've just got to be paying more attention to nutrition in my family and what I serve my family. Lately, we've just been eating fast food. That's not good. I need to start paying more attention to nutrition. Okay? That would be the parent part of me. Okay? The adult part is the part that is the worky part, the task center, the part of us that makes things happen. So, using that same example, the adult part of me would be thinking, okay, so what I better do, let's say I do my shopping on Saturday. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sit down on Friday and I'm going to pull out my recipe books and I'm going to choose 2 nutritious recipes for every week, and then I'll have the ingredients when I shop on Saturday. So it's kind of the planning, making things happen part of us. Okay? The child part of us is the playful part of us. Okay? It's the part of us that the grass looks so great outside, you take off your shoes and just go walking through the grass barefoot. Or it's the part of us that's saying, yeah, I know I need to dust this place, but you're going to go take the dog for a walk and go play Frisbee in the park. Okay? You go bowling on Friday nights. You just have some fun. Okay? So now what this model suggests is that what happens with a lot of us when we're under a lot of stress, perhaps when we have a chronic condition, what happens to a lot of us is we become all parent and adult. We forget about our child. Okay? I used to see this a lot. I used to do counseling at Westminster College, and I worked a lot with women who were in their 40s or so, and they had married young, and they'd married their knight in shining armor. This happens so often. They'd married their knight in shining armor and had 4 or 5 kids, and then the knight in shining armor gets a little rusty. Okay, and they end up divorced. And I worked a lot with women who were in their 40s, had kids still to raise, had a high school education, and they were stuck. So they were at Westminster trying to get the education and so on. But what I would discover with them is that they were all parent and adult. Can you see how that would happen? They were worried about the bills. They were worried about how am I going to pay the tuition? How am I going to do this? They were so burdened. So when I would work with them, I'd say, as we talk, and then I realized some of what was going on. I'd say, you know what? And I'd explain this to them. And I'd say, so where's your child? And so often they'd say, I haven't seen my child in 2 years since my marriage went sour. I haven't done anything fun. There is no fun, there's no laughter in me. And that's where we would focus in, okay? Helping them find their child again. So you can see how this model works.